welcome. So today I'm doing a rune, as you can probably tell from my rune bag and my little table. Yeah, so I'm still not really, how can I say, I don't have all the runes off the top of my head, so I do have my little papers with me today with the meanings and everything. But yeah, kind of last minute decision to do it, but excited. So if you would like a rune, please do let me know. I am on my mobile streaming, so we'll hello Miss Venus, hello. I'm on mobile, so we'll have to make sure I'm viewing the chat well enough here. Looks okay. So runes. So do you remember our last rune stream was 3 weeks ago, I believe. I just thought to myself, I thought it's been quite a while. Not quite a month, but it's been a while. So so if you had one 3 weeks ago, then I would say perhaps see how you feel, see how you resonate with the rune, because it might be your future rune. That's all I'm trying to say. It might be your future rune, or the kind of, if you're going into a new chapter, it might be that rune. If your current rune was your last rune, you kind of understand what I mean, I hope. So let's go ahead and do them then. So Kevin, is Kevin still here? Kevin was in quite early. Is Kevin still here? We can go ahead and do Kevin a rune if Kevin is here. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're well. Thank you, Miss Venus. I feel like it looks like I need to brush it. I have brushed it. It just looks a bit messy, but thank you. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate the compliments. Yeah, so I'm just double checking. Okay, so it doesn't seem like Kevin is still here. So I'll go ahead, I'll begin with Miss Venus, because Miss Venus was second in, and I'll just go down. So as you come in, I will be, yeah, just doing the runes. I'll just go down from there. So Kevin, if you are here, just feel free to re-comment, and I will just put you further down the line. So Miss Venus, I can't remember if you were on the 3 weeks ago one, but let's see what you get now. And is the sound okay? I'm always worrying about my mobile streams. The sound isn't as great. But focus on Miss Venus. Let's see what we get. So I do appreciate these live streams. Why I like doing it on the mobile one with the runes, I'll show you. So you don't usually get to see my table when I do the rune streams. I know it's nice because I have like the little rune symbol in the corner, which is kind of better for you to see it. But I like to show you the workings. So it's in some traditional practices you use a white cloth to drop the runes onto. Of course, this is a table, so it's a nice flat surface. And I shake up the rune bag, shake it up with focusing on the person's energy who I'm reading for, so Miss Venus at the moment. So focus on Miss Venus's energy and pour out the runes. Now you can see them. Many of them land this way, it's not this way. And many of them land upside down, so the symbol's on the bottom. So if they're sideways, or the symbol's on the bottom, or they're not fully flat onto the cloth, like if they're, leaning against another one or something like that, and they all go in the bag, back into the bag. They are not for Miss Venus if they are not flat on the table, symbol up, symbol side up. So you do, that one wasn't. So you do end up usually with about 6. And yeah, we do have 6. 5 or 6 runes would usually be used for a full spread. But now I have to go, when I'm doing just a current chapter rune, 1 rune for each person, have to feel intuitively which rune I feel drawn to for this person. So I'm feeling drawn go for the center rune here. So I'll show you it. I'll find it on my little notes. Oh yes, there we are. I found it. So there it is. You can kind of see the symbol quite well on the stream. And this is the breakthrough rune, so breakthrough. So we do have the message here. It's the last rune in the cycle of transformation. So it's a positive changes in self-improvement and understanding. Warrior nature reveals itself. An event that will change the course of your life path is very near. Trust is needed. A major period of achievement, improvement, and prosperity. Darkness is behind you. There may still be some hard work, and although you are called to trust and perhaps even take a leap of faith, keep your head straight and don't act recklessly. So there may still be challenges. It's not to say there isn't challenges, but the dark is truly behind you. So it's challenges, but you're in the light, if that makes sense. So there may be more help with the challenges, or they may just be easier, or you're more capable to deal with, you know. And the leap of faith. So yes, you might need to take a leap of faith, but it's not a huge risk. It's not, you know, if you're feeling on edge, if you're feeling like this is a huge risk, I'm not sure if I want to take it, then it's not the leap of faith, if that makes sense. So the maybe a leap, but it will be gentle. It'll be, you know, a little hop of faith, should we say. But breakthrough, so it's very nice. And it really shows the stage of where your transformation is at, because although we're always growing and learning, as we know, it really is showing a great achievement in terms of, like it says, breakthrough. It's a breakthrough rune, and it shows like enlightenment. It shows achievement, and not just that transformation stage that sometimes we feel like we're in for a very long time. So it's a very nice rune to get, the breakthrough rune. So let's do Pooja's rune. That was a very nice one to begin with. Let's focus on Pooja. Ooh, got a few more than the general reading. So let's see. I do feel drawn to the blank rune. So this rune is the unknowable. So this is the unknowable rune. Have it here, and this is what it looks like. It has no symbol. It has no symbol. It's blank. So the beginning and the end, it's the unknowable. So it's taking back control, thinking about what your fear is. You know, will you fail? Will you be abandoned? You know, are you worried about failing? Are you worried about being lonely? What are the fears? What are you worried about? Will everything be taken away? You know, the deepest fears and the highest potential. So it's kind of that. It's almost like it is what you make of it, and it's very truly being in a free will period, a free will kind of energy, because it is the unknowable. It's like, if to link it to the Akashic Tarot, I think of Paths Unknown, if you've seen that one, where it's kind of like you can go in any direction, and it can be highly positive, and it can be the worst. It's kind of like, which side of the scale are you going to be on? Which side of the coin do you want to be on? So there is a lot of kind of, it can be good or bad. You're currently not in a predestined period of life. So take control and navigate your preferred path. Know that your self-work is progressing and you are improving. So it is really, we do have predetermined events on our life path, and I always do try to, you know, reiterate that. But when you get this rune, the unknowable, you're definitely in a period of choice, free will, and all of that. You know, strength, choice, free will. It's a very nice rune to have, but it very much is like this is what you make of it. So It can be really positive, it could be negative if you know, so choose to go down a negative choice or a negative mindset, maybe, you know? So it's a nice room, but it can be a little bit daunting. It's nice because you truly are in control, but it can be a bit daunting because you know, you truly do have. It's not like you're being super guided. Your guides, you can still ask your guides for help and everything, of course, but they're not really guiding you. They're not pulling you. They're not pushing you. They're really kind of leaving it up to you. But still ask for their help. Still ask for them to channel energy and all of that. And Shweta, so I think Shweta is next. Let's do Shweta. So please do like the video if you have not liked it already. I'm sure I will get to you. Thank you guys for joining on when I do a kind of spontaneous stream. It's very nice. Shweta. My intuition here is this one for Shweta, and this is the. Can I remember? The warrior, yes, warrior. Oh yes, let me show it. So there we are. Can you see it? Is that one? Yes. Getting in focus. So warrior, you are a spiritual warrior. Allow the will of the universe to flow through you. Your anxieties will begin to release into true trust. So it's a nice rune. This is what the first rune that's been pulled on stream that can be drawn either way, you know, upright and reversed. But you got it upright. I was drawn to it being upright because it was kind of like this. You can, you know, go with your intuition, go with where you're drawn like that. So, the warrior energy, the spiritual warrior energy is the strongest part of this rune. It really is about understanding your strength and understanding that you. It's interesting because it's like having the strength of yourself, your individual self, and also going with the flow of the universe. So there's a little bit of go with the flow in this rune. It's not super similar to Pooja's, where it was very, you're in control, it's all kind of you, but there's still strength. There's a lot of strength there. And your anxieties will begin to release into trust. So it's a really positive message that if you're having like anxieties, fears, anything that's worrying you and on your mind, there's going to be events where you're really going to step into this warrior energy and transform those fears into trust, into belief, into faith, into strength, you know? So it's a really nice one, but it's kind of just kind of affirming your personal power, your individual power, you know? So I like that one very much as well. I like all of the runes. I know there are some that are a bit more negative, but they're still interesting to take a little look into ourselves. Amber, so yeah, so Amber is next, I believe. And Leon is here. So you have Amber and then Delphine, I believe. So let's go ahead and focus on Amber's energy here. Okay, so what does stand out to me right away here? So I'll just put all the rest back because it stood out right away. So let me find it. There we are. So it is possessions. So there we are, if you can see it. That's the symbol, and this is for Amber, and this is possessions. So possessions, very physical rune, you know, very physical. Fulfillment, ambition satisfied holistically. So there is spiritual, emotional, and physical. If you feel fulfilled in one area more than another, open up. Think of conserving your gifts. So there is a lot of sorry, I said it was a very physical rune, but that was not technically correct. It's there is a lot. There's a physical element to it. It's not just about spiritual growth, spiritual progression, emotions, and connections. Like a lot of runes are. There is a very physical element to it, but it is like I just said. Then it's about ambition and achievement in each area. So spiritual, emotional, and physical. So if you are feeling lacking in one area, so let's say I feel so lucky. I'm having really good moods, really good emotions, really good connections with people. My physical health really good. I'm getting things that I want physically, but spiritually, maybe I'm lacking a little bit. Maybe I don't feel fully tapped into my gifts. Then you focus a little bit more on opening up to the spiritual side. If it's the physical side that you don't feel is there enough, then open up a little bit more to that. So it's really showing the potential that you have to have a balance in positivity in all of the areas, so physical, emotional, and spiritual. So do think, just have a little think to yourself, maybe a little meditation, and think, do I feel lacking in one of these areas? Is one really high and two really low, or one really low, or something like that? Just kind of keep the intention, the affirmation, to stay open to allowing the other ones to, increase as well, because it does show that there's a lot of potential for fulfillment in all of those areas and all of those areas. And then conserving gifts. So the other thing it does mention is conserving gifts. So if you, sorry, I have pins and needles. So if you, this is something I often say as well, is when we do manifest something, when we do something does go our way, to be thankful for it, give gratitude, be thankful, and set intention to conserve and protect as well. Because I think we focus a lot on manifesting specific things, but there's still a maintenance, a conserving, protecting when we get them. So do still keep that in mind. If you do, like my example was, if you're feeling low on the spiritual side but emotionally and physically fine, think of not only balancing and opening up on the spiritual side, but being thankful and giving gratitude for those other two areas that are good. So thankful for the ones you do have, opening up for the other ones, because it's all coming. It's like a balance of abundance or a balance of achievement. So that was Amber. So then we do Delphine. Delphine. I'm just seeing how many people we have here. So let me see. So I would just say, just in case anyone is just hopping in, if anyone's new. So we have Delphine, then we have Kevin. And Miss Venus says that's exactly the one I was thinking of. Amazing. So we have Delphine, Kevin, Aries, Daniela, and then Liz, Jasmine, Sadia, and Salil. Salil? Totally resonates. Amazing. So yeah, there's a little bit of a queue, but it's not too long. So do feel free to stay and wait. So Delphine, Kevin, Aries, Daniela, Liz, Jasmine, Sadia, Salil. Okay. So let me go back. Oh, I'm really sorry. So let me just. Okay. So Delphine. Yeah, that's right, isn't that? I'm pretty sure that's right. Yes, Delphine. I'm getting really confused. Did I just finish Amber? Yes, okay. Getting confused, sorry. So this is Delphine. Let me just think. Which one do I feel drawn to most here? Oh, it feels like between two. Let me get them. So I'm feeling between these two. And peek at the names. Let's see if that helps. Yes, so I'm feeling that one. It's upright as well, which is what I'm feeling. Feeling that one was the right way as well. So there we are. We have this rune, and this is Delphine, and this is movement. So we have the movement rune. So the upright it is. Progress, movement, and physical gifts. Gradual development, slow progress, many small shifts that eventually make a big positive change. Can include relationships or business. So it can be relationship based, can be work based. So there's progress, movement, and physical gifts. So physical gifts, things that are very tangible to us. So again, you know, it could be like abundance or something like that. Something that's very physical and tangible, but gradual development and slow progress. So it's interesting because this is the kind of room where, if this is your current chapter rune, it's the kind of room where you probably wouldn't really notice it too much until you're out of this chapter and you look back and you think, I feel like not a lot has happened, but somehow so much has changed because it's those small shifts. It's like little small things changing. You may be, you know, being quite a spiritual person or being quite a tuned in kind of person, you might notice the little small things, but generally tends to be these little things that are changing, little things going on around us that we're probably not really tapping into all of them, and they eventually have this huge change come. So sometimes we want a big shift, we want a big change, we want something really, you know, amazing and new and fresh to happen. But in this case, it doesn't really go like that at the moment. It's these very small little steps that all adding up eventually. So it is really nice, but one thing that is kind of a message here is don't, it's not to worry too much if you feel like nothing is changing. If you feel like, you know, you're waiting around, nothing's changing, just go back to this rune and, you know, feel that energy and just think, okay, it's little small shifts at the moment. So it might not feel like much is changing, it might seem like things are a bit slow, but actually they're just gradual at the moment. Doesn't mean you won't have a big shift eventually, but it's a little small movements at the moment. But it is very affirmative of positive momentum, you know, upward trajectory. It's just a little bit slow. And the horse is your totem animal at the moment. So that doesn't mean that you don't have other totem animals. It doesn't mean that you don't have those lifetime, you know, spirit animals who feel very resonating with, you know, one or more animals. Usually the horse is, for this chapter, for this period for you, the horse. So that's all about movement, and it's all about strength through that movement as well. So just in case you do want to work with spirit guide, with spirit animal, the horse totem is a great one for you at this time. So that's really nice. And there's the rune again. But yeah, I would definitely say in this period, in this chapter, don't be too disheartened if shifts and changes are very gradual and small at the moment, because they will add up eventually. That's the main message I would say. And yes, please do like the video if you haven't already. So let's see. So we did Amber, we did Delphine. Daniela! Daniela. I'm sure I did Shweta. I guess I'm confused. Let me know. I will scroll down in a moment, but I will just do Daniela first. So we have this one, which is Wholeness. I really should know them off the top of my head, but they have their kind of ancient names, and then they have their more, you know, names that we understand more. I made my notes to be very understandable, or tried to. So the Wholeness rune. the sun's energy. Follow your path with no ulterior motive, only your individual unique desires. What you are striving to become is what you already are. It's within you. Let the sun and spiritual light illuminate your path. You may feel surges of energy. Utilize them in a positive way. If a situation feels off, do not feel guilty about withdrawing, and there's no reverse to this rune, so it is just wholeness. So I will just read that again. So following your path with no ulterior motive, only your individual unique desires. So we all try to do this, and of course we do all try to be authentic and ourselves and everything like that, but sometimes we can be influenced. So what I would say is perhaps take a little bit of note if you feel like you may be being influenced by other people or other things, or something someone's saying, or something that someone's saying online, or on whatever it is that you might watch. Just checking in every now and then and making sure you are kind of moving from your authentic self, which I'm sure you will. But what you're striving to become is what you already are. So it's kind of like that, our enlightenment, the things that everything that you can possibly want is within you. But of course, we have to train or learn or study to bring out these gifts, bring out these talents, bring out these things. But it's all within you. You have like the blueprint, you have the ability, you have the strength, you have the guidance. You do have everything you need. And if anyone else can do something, you can do it. You are, just as capable as every other human on this earth, and you have everything to your, ability. So letting the spiritual light illuminate your path, very nice, and utilizing those surges of energy. So it's very normal to go through those phases, those like kind of waves where, when you're on low energy, do self-care, just look after yourself, be lazy for a day. But when you feel the surges of energy, make sure you are utilizing them. So as long as you are utilizing them, when you feel them, that's okay, that's enough. If you don't feel them, take a little break. But if a situation feels off, do not feel guilty about withdrawing. So that's a very kind of intuition based kind of message, because sometimes logically something can seem like the right thing to do. It can seem like, oh, this would be a great opportunity for me, or I have to do this because I've paid for it, or I've had it booked for so long. But if something really does feel off, don't feel guilty, even if you're like standing someone up, or your true friends will understand anyway. But feel your intuition, and if you do feel like something's off, you're probably correct. So just try to make sure you kind of go with that. So let's see, who do we have next? Kevin, I think. If I'm missing you, if I miss anyone, please let me know. But I think Kevin, so I'm going to go ahead, do Kevin. Kevin's the one at the moment. Oh, Rune's jumping out there. I should close the bag properly. That's so interesting. There's only actually, it is free I could choose from. That is free. And I'm going to go with that one. I feel that one. Okay, so we have the Self rune here for Kevin. So yeah, so itchy eye. That's the self rune for Kevin. Self-awareness, willingness to change, open-mindedness, independence, and individuality are all needed right now. So this rune, I really like this rune, and I noted this on here to make sure I remember whenever I do this rune reading for someone, it reminds me of the Fool card in the tarot. It's the beginning. It's where we begin. It's where we start. And a lot of people, or some people, don't really like the Fool, but there are many very good traits to take from the Fool, and I think the Fool is a very important card because the Fool can simply represent sometimes the beginning of something, you know, starting something new, a new kind of venture or thing on the path. So it could be a new relationship, it could be a new project, you know, it could be a new experience, traveling, going abroad, something like that. Um, Anything new, so beginning anything new, you know? And the Fool is very open minded. The Fool is very there isn't a closed mindedness or a narrow mindedness. There's being willing to learn anything, talk to anybody. Um, just a very open minded, very positive mindset with a lot of that kind of fun, excited, kind of childlike energy. Yes, sometimes there can be naivety in the Fool, but overall it's this willingness to learn, this willingness to not feel boxed in, and this kind of um, refreshed energy for a new perspective or a new path or a new opportunity, you know. So I do really like this rune, and it is a lot about self-awareness. It is a lot about having that open mind and being willing to start something new, be on a new path, you know, start a new path or be on a new path or whatever it is. But it's very much about the beginning of something, so you can expect things, something new to begin, as opposed to something changing, something new to begin, something new to come up. And like I said, it can be relationships, it can be projects, it can be anything that's new, and that's why kind of such an open mind is needed for the self rune. But I really like that one. The Fool is probably my favorite tarot. Um, okay, so that is Kevin. So Aries now, I think. Ooh, Aries. I'm stuck between two here. I'm going to go with that one, which is, there we are. So this is your rune, and it is disruption. So you have the disruption rune, needing to be free of hierarchy, needing to focus on spiritual more than physical. Your current plant, what am I writing here? Your current plant will be disrupted. Your current path, it must mean. I wrote all these notes myself, and I notice the spelling mistakes all the time. Your current path will be disrupted for your spiritual awakening. External issues may be out of your control. You may experience loss or damage. The more severe the disruption, the greater the awakening and change thereafter. Very forceful energy from this rune. So it's interesting because it's it's it can be a difficult rune to hear, but do bear in mind that it's not there's an element of something negative may happen, but it's this kind of energy of something being disrupted, something like it said, perhaps damage, perhaps loss, and it could be, you know, it could be as simple as losing a physical item, and then you know your whole kind of um timeline is just disrupted a little bit by having to go and look for it or having to go do this thing. So do bear in mind that it's not it doesn't necessarily mean a really great loss. It doesn't necessarily mean something that's really um, tragic. So it's not necessarily pointing to something that's really, really bad. It can do in some situations. It can point to things that aren't, great. But it's very much the loss or the damage that happens within this period is equally linked to, or directly proportionate to, I should say, um, the positive that comes out of it. So it's kind of like those challenges, those struggles that we have to face. We kind of, everyone's life has struggles and has challenges. We can't really get over it. We can't get away from it. But you will be gifted, in a sense, by having that balance out. So any of the negative things that come in this period, any loss, any damage, any upset, any speed bump that comes, is going to be equally matched by something positive. So there's a lot of, although it is pointing to something not great happening, there's a great balance coming as well, where your spiritual side, especially, is going to have an equally balanced kind of positivity to it. But needing to be free of hierarchy could be like a indicator sometimes, because we're seeing this idea of loss. There can sometimes people get this rune when they're on a path from working for someone else to working for themselves. So the loss can be loss of a job, or loss of a passion, loss of a love for, a company, a place, a whatever. Sometimes it can be lost like that. So I suddenly feel I'm not into this kind of line of work anymore. I'm not into this kind of life path anymore. A lot of the time it is about that change from, not always from working for someone to working for yourself, but from doing something that's not very self-sufficient to doing something that's self-sufficient. So it can even be things like um, losing trust and faith in, this is really silly, but this is just another example to show that isn't always something really serious. But say I'm losing faith and trust in the foods that we eat. Everything's got chemicals in it. I feel really against this. I don't like it. Then I'm going on from this hierarchy aspect of having to buy from these companies, go to these stores and all of these things, to taking control. I'm suddenly going to a self-sufficient area, leaving that kind of hierarchy system, making my own food, or growing my own food, I should say. So it can be something like that, but there's definitely a shift from something that's a bit more hierarchy, a bit more within this kind of system, to a self-sufficient kind of energy coming through, and needing to focus more on the spiritual than the physical at the moment. So just think about that as well. If this, whatever happens, which is some kind of loss or some kind of like damage, loss, whatever it is, try to tap in a little bit more to your spiritual side, to your higher self, maybe your guides, whatever it is, for guidance, for strength, for courage, and all of those things. Because yes, there definitely is a struggle or a challenge coming up, but it's going to be quite quickly balanced, if that makes sense. So sometimes we go through that struggle and that challenge, and it takes a while till we look back and we see the actually the great path that we're on now, which does come up in one of these rooms, where it's much more about when you look back, you notice how positive that change was, even though it was not great at the time. This is a lot more about having kind of balance in more of the immediate time frame, if that makes sense. So the loss and then the positive thing going to balance each other out. They're going to be quite soon after each other, if that makes sense. Um, so I hope that does make sense. So let's see, where are we up to? Liz, do we still have Liz? So Liz, Jasmine, Sadia, and Salil, I believe. Oh, we have many, many people in. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it would be so busy. So let's see. Let me see. So if you're still here, because it says we have 8 people in, and you haven't had a rune yet, please comment rune in the chat, and I will go, because I don't want to be reading runes for people who aren't still here with us. So if you're in, please comment rune, and I'll go from there. I know it can be difficult to stay in when I'm reading for so many people. Okay, so do Theodora. So if you're commenting rune, please make sure you will be staying for a little bit. If you're going to comment rune after Theodora, and we'll be going from there. So, okay. Okay. I've seen it already. I've seen it. Okay, S. Wonderful, you'll be next. Okay, so this is Theodora's rune. Harvest. I like this rune as well. So there we are. You can see the symbol there. So this is harvest. And there's no reverse in this rune as well, so it's quite nice. Make sure you have planted seeds for the thing that you want. Even the smallest of actions that vaguely point towards your goals are going to be huge in a year from now. So this is, well, like it says, it's very much about planting the seeds so that you can look back and recognize that, you know, see that harvest a year from now. So it's kind of a lot about those small little actions, putting little things in place, putting plans in place. Maybe it's just a bit of organization, maybe it's just connecting with certain people. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge giant step, but all of the little things that you're doing are going to build up. So it's very much one of those runes of it isn't really restricting us to this current chapter, not necessarily like how I sometimes say a current chapter rune and a future rune. It's very much like guidance for this whole kind of year in a sense, because it's saying that planting those seeds, just planting those seeds. So it doesn't really matter if you have a little checklist, a little to-do list, and you just check a little thing off, you know, every day, something small. It doesn't matter how small it is, as long as you know they're positive steps towards your goal. You know, it could be a millimeter step, it doesn't matter. It's all just about planting those seeds, making that gradual transition, and really shining a light on how far you can go within a year. So within a year from now, you know, things could be drastically different just by these little kind of steps that you're taking, that you're going to take. So being the farmer of your life and harvesting that, reaping the harvest that you've sown. That's the phrase I was looking for. So that is a really nice one. KS. Okay, so we have KS next. So guys, if you are in still and you would like a rune, do comment rune. So this is for KS now. Oops. Just squeeze past my pot to get that. Okay, so and this is initiation. So you can see it here. Initiation. The phoenix is your totem animal right now, and with the help of the unknown forces of the universe, maybe your guide, your higher self, God, whatever it is, you will rise from the ashes. A surprise, unexpected gains you will begin to see from a higher perspective. So it's a really nice rune, and it's a very affirmative and kind of supportive rune if you have gone through a struggle, if you've gone through a difficult time recently, or in the not too distant past, because it really is showing how things are going to turn around, things are going to change, and it's a lot about your strength. You know, the phoenix is your totem animal, yes, but you're also going to rise from the ashes, you know, like the phoenix. So it's a really nice one, and I do like how some of the runes give you kind of a totem animal to focus on. So if you do want to focus on a totem animal, the phoenix is a very beautiful, mystical symbol to focus on, you know? And a surprise. So a surprise, unexpected gains. So that's an interesting thing as well. So surprise, unexpected gains. it can come in any form. So this isn't a rune that's specifically telling us this is like a spiritual gift, this is a physical gift, this is a gift with connections, relationships. So it very much is a surprise because it can be in any area of life, but it's gains. So unexpected gains, it's something positive. You're going to gain something. You're just not sure what area of life it's going to be in. So a little bit of a spin of the wheel, but it's very positive regardless. And you'll begin to see from a higher perspective. So there is this energy as well when we get this rune to do think about, because it's saying you're going to begin to see from a higher perspective, so that's great, you know. Um, it's kind of affirming that you will, but sometimes we can think when we get this rune, do I need to be careful? Because sometimes there will be, when you begin to go to a higher perspective, when you begin to raise in vibration, you know, from where you are currently, even if you're really high already, when you go higher, you know, there will be people that may try to bring you down, that may try to kind of get you to stay where they are or even bring you lower. So keeping in mind that you need to be the bigger person, see from a higher perspective, and maybe be a mediator at some times as well. If people around you are having conflicts, difficulties, and things like that, stay in your high positive energy. Don't let other people bring you down, and even to the point of being a mediator if it's needed. But you will see from a high perspective. So it's not kind of telling you to remember to do that, it's telling you that you will. But when we do need to remember is if someone else is trying to bring us down. So very nice rune. I do like that one. Initiation. And then Jasmine. So ooh, yeah, Jasmine. Sorry, I lost in the chat again, I lost where I was up to. Okay, Jasmine. Ooh, not a lot of right away runes here, but I think I got her. I think I found her. Sorry, I'm getting pins and needles being sat here. Oh, these stretch my legs. Okay. So this is fertility. So this is the rune of fertility. There we are. You can see that. And of course, with that one, there's no reverse as well because it's a very symmetrical rune. You may be called to work with the moon. Completion is needed. Make completing things from the back burner a focus now. Completing projects, completing things that you maybe thought that you were completing, didn't quite get to, things like that. You should especially not worry about taking risks right now. Doing something that scares you will be good for you. So when I see this, I'm kind of feeling like there's a bit of a spiritual safety net in the sense. So of course, do your due diligence. You know, there's the scammers out there, there's bad people out there, but it's not to worry too much. So if you are thinking of taking a leap of faith, if you are thinking of doing something that's a little bit risky, you probably don't need to look too deep into it or worry too much about it, you know, as um as you usually might, or as maybe other people might, because at the moment there's a lot of protection in that respect. Doing something that scares you will be very good for you. And you're a chrysalis, and you need to emerge a butterfly. So you're kind of, you know, in that little cocoon. You're so in a sense still kind of, and we are always in a sense still transforming, but you're kind of ready to emerge. It's, you know, preparation to emerge. um Keep your humor and keep grounded as well. So that's probably an important message as well, because when we emerge a butterfly, we can rarely be flying very high. We can, you know, our head can be in the clouds, things can be going really well, really perfectly. We do need to stay grounded and kind of maybe stay grounded. Don't be too serious. Still be in your kind of humorous, light-hearted kind of energies. But also, of course, with the fertility rune, it's fertility. So there could be an element of creation. You know, it isn't always fertility in the essence of like pregnancy, like conception, but there is, although it can be, but there is also this element of creation in general. So that sacral energy, that creative energy, maybe making something where it was saying about picking up from things that are on the back burner. Maybe it's a creative thing that you've put on the back burner. Maybe it's just, yeah, like creating something new, you know, breathing life into something, you know, that fertile kind of energy. Hello? So Alphonse. So Alphonse is next. Yeah, so Alphonse, then Kritika, then Swetha. Um, okay, let's do Alphonse. So we have this rune, which is, let me see if I can find it on my paper. Yes, strengthen rune, strengthen. Terminations and new beginnings. You've outgrown one aspect of your current life. Darkness can be part of a new cycle. Prepare for opportunity disguised as loss. So this is an interesting rune. So an opportunity disguised as loss. So it is pointing to something leaving your life, you releasing something, something being left in the past, whether that's, you know, purposefully you walking away from it or it leaving kind of unexpectedly, something like that. Don't worry too much about it. So anything that's falling away at the moment, anything that's kind of, yeah, it seems like it's coming to an end, it's a opportunity that's disguised as loss. So this is the room where we kind of, it might be difficult, because if we looked at the disruption rune that Aries got before, it was very kind of immediate that her positive negative thing that was going to happen was going to be outweighed, balanced out and outweighed, or balanced out I should say, by something positive quite immediately. But this rune's very much like you might move along your path a little bit, mourning this loss, worrying about this loss, wishing this loss didn't leave, wishing this thing didn't leave. But it's when you look back after a little while and you recognize the path you're on and you think, I wouldn't be on this path if I didn't lose that. That's the kind of energy of this rune. So the loss might be difficult because you won't realize right away why it was necessary, but eventually you will. So it's opportunity disguised as loss. When the opportunity fully comes in and you fully realize, you know, that I'm on this new path and this new thing that never would have happened if I didn't lose that old thing, eventually you'll realize the positivity in it. But it might be difficult in the beginning. It might be difficult in the beginning. So just think about that now that you're kind of being made aware of it. Maybe it won't be so difficult when this thing leaves, because eventually, you know that eventually it's going to be on, you're going to be on a more positive path. So that's really nice. So Katika, let's do Katika. Okay. Let's see, have it. I've got it here, but I just can't see the. Oh yeah, it's there. It looks different on the paper. Sorry guys, I really should get these, like, you know, off the top of my head, but it just doesn't happen for me with runes, and I don't know why. Tarot I can do. There's way more tarot than there is runes, but this is the partnership rune. So partnership, a very important, and this is for Kritika. So partnership rune, a very important partnership is coming up for you. It could be business, romantic, or friendship, but keep your sense of individuality. So oftentimes with this, it is a romantic relationship coming, but as I said, it could be a business connection, it could be a friendship, it could be a new friendship. but whichever kind of relationship this is, and why it usually does lean to a romantic relationship, is because it's there's this worry, this issue that could happen with this connection where you amalgamate together a little bit too much, where you lose your sense of individuality because you're so close, you kind of do everything together. There's a chance of that happening. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with spending a lot of time with someone, you know, really enjoying someone's company and them enjoying yours. There's nothing wrong with that. But try to be a little bit mindful and make sure that maybe there's, you know, one hobby that you do on your own or with other friends, and there's one hobby that they do on their own with other friends, you know. So it's not, there's nothing wrong with your, it's like almost your whole life you spend together, but just make sure you do have that little bit of individuality, that little bit of separation, keeping your uniqueness, your, you know, individual kind of self. But it is positive. It's, you know, it's not saying anything negative about the relationship, about the connection that's coming. Just making sure that you have a little bit of separation when needed. When, you know, when it's, yeah, when it's needed. So Swatha, okay. So we have, hi Venus, need a rune reading for my career. So I can't be certain. I can't say for sure that it's going to be a career based rune, especially when we only pull one rune. I can't say for sure because, like, for example, that one that just came up. If you got that one, I can't say for definite it will be a work relationship or a business relationship because it might not be. So I will still pull you on, but just to bear in mind when we only pull one rune, it can be difficult if we want to address a specific thing. So let's see what we get. So this is Swatha. I already feel drawn to this. Yeah. Yeah. That's the one I kind of some of them I forget the understandable names. They're non-traditional names. But this is the protection rune. So I was just patting myself on the back that I remembered that. But there we are. So that is your rune there, and this is for Swatha. So protection. You may have fast-paced transformation in your current period, if not your near future, and this will come with intense emotions, high and low. Don't escape pain and let it teach you. And warrior energy. So we get warrior energy again with this one. So it's nice because it's showing you how much protection you have around you, but is kind of giving that insight that the intense emotions, there may be low, you know, low intense emotions, but they probably are very likely to be balanced out. There'll be some intense high, some intense low, and things like that. And fast-paced transformation. So fast-paced transformation is good on in the long run because, you know, once you're transformed, once you're in that nice new place, it's nice, but it can be unbalancing, you know, make you feel a little bit unstable when so many things are changing, or when things are just or even if it's one thing changing but it's really quick, going really quickly, it can knock you off balance a little bit. So this is kind of where I suppose protection comes in. There's a lot of protection around you. Your guides are around you. You know, the universe has your back in a sense, and all of those things. It is the protection rune, so I definitely wouldn't worry about it, but just bear that in mind. And maybe some fast-paced transformation and intense emotions, so high and low. Don't escape any of the low energy, the low emotions. Let them feel into your emotions of pain, anger, sadness, whatever it is. Let it teach you, you know, kind of sit with it a little bit. And it will also allow you to appreciate those high highs, those intense highs, a lot as well, because you'll have that comparison. But a lot of protection and guidance and affirmation to tap into your warrior spirit energy. So it's another rune that has that warrior spirit energy in it, but protection. So that's really, really nice. Yuna, hello. Christine, hello. Yes, so let me see. Okay, so guys, if you're still in, I'm going to read a little bit of the responses, but again, if you're still in, can you put Rune? I know I keep asking this, but it keeps telling me there's only like 6 people in, and there's a few more comments than 6. So I just want to make sure I'm up to date, and I don't want to be reading for anyone who isn't here. So if you're still here, comment Rune again, and I'll go down to you guys and do a Rune. So let's see some of the replies here. Oh yeah, so not answering questions today, unfortunately. I'm very sorry. There will be a crystal ball in the next 2 to 3 days. Lalima, hello. It's been a while. I hope you're still here. Faza, hello and welcome. Okay, Ash, you're very welcome. Hope to see you again. Yeah, keep your eye out for crystal ball if there's questions you want to ask. And it's not specific questions for this one just because it's just one rune. It's a bit that can be a bit too. A 6 rune spread can answer specific questions usually because it touches on a lot. Let me see here. So I think Lalima is still here. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay. Hello and welcome. So okay. I know Lalima, I've missed you so much. So just comment Rune if you want a Rune. I'm going to do Lalima and then Awesome. So if you do want a Rune reading, just comment Rune. It's one Rune, so not questions unfortunately, I'm very sorry. But yes, runes. So Lalima, this is for Lalima. So this is the first rune that has repeated for 2 people. But I don't think you were here when we last had it. So there we are. Can you see it? Don't know if it's in focus. So we have the fertility, no, the harvest rune, sorry, harvest, not fertility. So the harvest rune here. Make sure you have planted seeds for the things you want. Even the smallest of actions that vaguely point towards your goals are going to be huge in 1 year from now. So it's very much kind of, reaping the harvest that you've sown. So this rune is very much about making small steps. So it's not about making big drastic life changes. It's not about overthinking, over worrying, over planning or anything like that. Although it is good when you have this rune to do a bit of organization and things like that, but not to overdo anything, and it's not to try to rush things, because this is a very drawn out energy with this rune. It's very much, we're in June now, 2024. The idea is that you do these little kind of steps, plant these little seeds. Maybe it's, having a small to-do list, checking one thing off every day. Maybe it's just talking to a few people who might be positive connections, networking, just little small steps, as long as you have a little bit of a vision or an idea of what you want in the future, and just little small steps to get there. It's not about overexertion. It's not about doing too much. It's not about pushing yourself super, super hard. It's just about keeping up little steps, planting little seeds. And it's all about when we get to June next year, you will look back over the year and you'll think, wow, all those little small steps, those little small ticks that I did on my to-do list have made all the difference. So it's very much about little small shifts eventually adding up to a big change. It comes gradually. It's barely noticeable that it's so huge, but it is, and it's very positive. But just remember to be planting seeds. So, any little small action that will take you a baby step closer to your goal, even little baby steps closer to your goal is perfect. It's definitely a long-term plan, a long-term kind of goal, kind of idea. You will reap the harvest that you've sown. You will reap a positive harvest, but don't worry too much about pushing yourself, doing things really quick. Give yourself that year. Give yourself that time. So that was Lalima. So awesome. Next. Okay. So here's your rune. And this is for awesome. And this is the retreat rune. So we have retreat here. Retreat. So this is interesting, this rune. So there is an element in this rune about the physical life path, about real physical things like property, moving house, moving location, or buying a property, doing a renovation, something that's quite big to do with your living situation. So it could be someone moving out, someone moving in, a big renovation, moving location, moving home, but it does tend to be something quite big on the path of moving, or on the path of the home, sorry. Um, a physical move of home, or sometimes job. So sometimes it is job, but it's usually home, but can be job. So do bear that in mind. If you've just moved home, maybe you're thinking, no, I don't want to move again. It might be job, but shedding old skin and knowing when to stand your ground. So shedding an old skin, of course, always trying to release what we don't need from the past, release the negativity of the past. It's always it's kind of a common phrase, release what no longer serves you, but we do need to be reminded of that sometimes. And knowing when to stand your ground. So it's another rune that kind of gives us that little bit of warrior spirit, warrior energy, because you might need to stand your ground at some point. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can walk away. Don't worry. But if you do feel in that moment like I need to kind of stand up for myself here, I need to take step into my warrior energy, go ahead and do that. Just feel when that is the right time. But yes, a lot about positive root chakra change. So positive root chakra energy, such as, like I said, home change, positive home change, or positive work change. And that is retreat. So very nice. That was for awesome. And who else do we? Jan. So we have Jan still in as well. So guys, remember, if you do want a rune, just comment rune. Let me know that you're still here. So now we are moving on to Jan. Fazo, if you have not done yours yet, I'm checking in every now and then for people to comment rune, because it's telling me there's only 6 or 7 people in, and there's a lot more comments than that. So I want to make sure that who I'm reading for is in the chat. So I'm doing Jan now, and then, yeah, just comment rune if you're still here and you want a rune. So Jan. I'm torn between 2. Ooh, wondering which is the one for you. If I can remember, yeah, I think I'm going to go for that one. Feel drawn to this one, which is fertility. This is fertility. Yes, I keep getting harvest and fertility mixed up, but this is the fertility rune. So fertility. You may be called to work with the moon. So you may be called to work with the moon. Completion is needed. Make completing things from the back burner a focus now. Complete projects. It could be something you've always told yourself you'll do that you haven't quite gotten around to, or it could actually be something you physically started and haven't finished. You should especially not worry about taking risks right now. Doing something that scares you will be good for you. So, like I always say, when we get a risk-taking kind of rune or a leap of faith rune, still do your due diligence, still, have your kind of caution about you with scammers and with, things like that. But there's more of a spiritual safety net for you at the moment, so you're less likely to be, a risk is less likely to go bad for you, if that makes sense. So, if it is something that's very uncertain, very kind of, oh, I'm not sure if I should do that, just kind of go for it. If it feels right, go for it. You're a chrysalis and you need to emerge a butterfly, so it's very much about that emerging stage, that kind of, I have transformed, I have changed, but I still need to kind of emerge, show myself, in all of my glory. And of course, it's fertility, so there can be fertility in terms of like literal conception, pregnancy kind of energy, but there can be fertility in terms of that creative energy, that making things, creating things, breathing a life into things, that kind of fertile energy. So, creation. Keep humour and keep grounded. So stay in your nice light-hearted energy and stay grounded as well, which we do need. Sometimes we have these kind of generic messages, but we need kind of reminding sometimes. Stay grounded, release what doesn't serve you. Sometimes we do need those reminders. So that was Jan. Sushi. Sushi. So sushi? I'm so sorry. Sushi? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. I assume it's not sushi. My enemy and his son have broken the wall of our home in the village. They have forcibly occupied the land and are threatening to kill us. That is a crazy situation. Yeah, it wouldn't be on here. I would be calling for help. But yeah, I'm sorry to read if anyone is having difficult situations, horrible situations, prayers, love, light, and blessings for anyone going through challenges and struggles and all of these things. But yeah, so this rune, it's not questions. So this rune, it's not about questions. It's just rune reading. It's just rune reading. So I do apologise. I know most of the time I'm doing like crystal ball and pendulums, but it's a rune. So sorry about that. So Phaser, we have Phaser next. Oh, it says there's only 2 people in. What? Interesting. So Jan had a feeling, which I've had this plan to close. Jan and Miss Venus both had a feeling of which room they would have, and we're correct. That's amazing. So Phaser, are you still here? So sorry, are you still here? It says there's only 2 people in. Please do comment rune if you want a rune. Phaser, if you're still here, I'll go ahead with your one now. Thank you for your patience. Yes, okay. Thank you for your patience. Let's go ahead. And if anyone else is still in, please do comment rune if you would like a rune. But this is Phaser first. Oh, this is interesting. Only one is upright without being disrupted by the others. So we know which rune is your rune right away. And this is the rune of flow. So the flow rune. Flow. Phase of going with flow. Be present in the moment and observe the lesson of everything out of your control that occurs around you. So, yes, be present in the moment and observe the lessons of everything that's out of your control that occurs around you. Or that there is no lesson, just observe. So, it's interesting because I think a lot of the time when we're very spiritual, we do look for meaning, we do look for lessons. But is there occasionally a time where maybe we're just observing and there isn't much of a lesson? Because it's telling you to go with the flow. It's also telling you to not overthink. So don't overthink too much which is sometimes easier said than done. If you're going through a difficult time, if you're worried, it can be easier said than done. But I think at least giving an insight into the kind of energy you're in at the moment, because sometimes we're in that free will energy where we really have to take control ourselves, make our own decisions, and all of those things. But sometimes, not that you shouldn't be making your own decisions, but I mean, like, you should be a lot more in control. Kind of realize that you're in a period where you really need to take control of the life path, and sometimes we should be in that sit back phase where we go with the flow, we see where the universe wants us to go, and we take a little bit more of a back seat. Still making decisions, but kind of allowing the flow of the universe to maybe answer us or take us somewhere if we're having indecision. So if you're feeling a bit indecisive, just let the energy take you, the universe take you, should I say, and try not to overthink too much. You are in a flow state, so you're not going to be super in control of everything. There will be some things that just occur, that just flow by you. You may be, kind of taken with the flow of the universe at the moment. But there's also a warning. So there is a bit of a warning to cleanse, to make sure you're staying cleansed, to keep yourself cleansed. That's the only real warning with this card. It is a rune, sorry. It is a very nice rune, but it's just saying make sure you stay cleansed. Just keep a check on your energy, make sure you are staying cleared. But a positive omen of a fairy tale happily ever after as well. So there is a positive omen here. It is kind of saying there is a really positive happily ever after for you. So, sometimes we think like that's just the movies, that's not going to happen for me. But it does, and people do have really positive, amazing life paths. People do have their positive outweigh their negative. People do have beautiful connections and beautiful relationships, and it is saying that that's very available to you, that's very attainable for you. So that's really nice. So it's a very, very positive rune. The only thing I would take from it as a bit of a lesson would be you're not going to be too in control at the moment, so maybe don't try to be too in control, or don't fight being too in control. Do allow the universe to take you if it needs to, and just make sure you're staying cleansed. Make sure you are staying a little bit cleansed. And that was Phaser. So, who are you? Very welcome. Of course, you're very welcome. Do we have anybody else? So, guys, if you're still in the chat, I appreciate your patience so, so much. Please comment rune in the chat if you would like a rune. If you're still here, if you're still here and you would like a rune, just comment rune in the chat. Or I'll be off and seeing you guys shortly. Okay, so it might just be naturally winding down here. But if you are still here, if you are one of the 3 people apparently in the chat right now, and you haven't had a rune yet, just comment rune and you're very welcome to have a rune. I'll just wait for a couple more minutes in case anybody pops in, and then I'll jump out. So Leon, I may be seeing you shortly. It was quite nice. I was thinking an hour and a half anyway. Leon, of course, yes. I was thinking an hour and a half anyway, and it's an hour and 20 minutes now, so that's great. Jonas, hello and welcome. I'm really sorry if you have a problem. At the moment, I'm just doing runes, so it's not like questions or anything like that. But you're very welcome to have a rune if you would like one. Just comment rune in the chat. And I'll do Leon. Leon, I'll do yours now. There's free. There's free that it could be. I think I'm drawn to this one, but I just want to see. No, I think I am. I'm drawn to that one. Where's it gone? I had this one we did have someone else with this one today. So I don't know why I can't find it. Oh, there we are. So it's the Strengthen. Leon. Fraser says Leon is a kick-ass moderator. That's so lovely. Yeah, Leon's amazing. Terminations and new beginnings. You've outgrown one aspect of your current life. Darkness can be part of a new cycle. Prepare for opportunity disguised as loss. So you're also having the Strength rune. And so there may be a change, something coming in, but also an opportunity disguised as loss. So where you are, that's really sweet. So where you are going through certain phases, I think this is quite true for you as well, because I already know, of course, knowing you, that you are going through a lot of transformations in terms of the things that you guys are putting an end to, you know, like activities, projects, things like that, and new things coming in down the road that maybe you don't know yet, you know. We don't know too much about the things coming in down the road yet, other than we can maybe look in the crystal ball. But there are a few things that are coming to an end with you, that you're kind of, you know, closing out that chapter, you know, with some of your creative projects and things like that. So I do feel like this resonates for you, and I do feel that the loss hopefully is about that. You know, I really hope so, because I don't want it to be too bad. I don't want it to be anything too huge or anything, but it's all about having strength, and it's all about a lot of strength for these future things. So with the strength rune, the things that we lose, it can seem bad at the time. So things coming to an end, or people leaving, or you leaving other people, and things like that. It may seem negative at the time, but when you come further along on the path, you will notice how much more positive, how much higher vibrating you have come once you're, you know, because it's the upward trajectory. It's releasing something and going up, and then looking back and thinking, it makes sense now, it makes sense. And I have definitely had this period of my life, hopefully not as negative or as strong as anybody else who I've read this room for today, but even with how strong my loss was in the past, the path that I'm on and looking back, it does make sense in why that cared, or why it benefited my life path in many ways, even though it was very difficult. And so just think about that. Think about what is leaving, what doors you're closing on the life path, and what doors are going to be opening. Because that's the energy with the strength from rune, is that try not to focus too much on the doors that are closing, but the doors that are opening, because it's opportunity disguised as loss. It seems like loss at the moment, but the opportunities down the line are going to be much better, and keeping your strength, keeping that strong energy. To me, it really resonates with your creative projects, but maybe it's something different. We'll keep an eye out and see. But strength, I do think you're a very strong person. I do think you have a very strong warrior spirit, like a lot of these guys on the Rune stream. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Jan, could the fertility rune also represent like new beginnings and opportunity? Maybe it could be a good omen for my situation. The fertility. Yeah, because it's about completing things that are on the back burner. So even if you did want to link it to relationships, it's completing something that's on the back burner, kind of in the past. It's not a new thing. It's not a brand new thing. It's completing things that already have started a little bit. So actually, it resonates with your situation a lot. It does resonate with that a lot. But I think that's it. So I think that's everyone. So I will do one more chance, because I have 5 more minutes. If you're still in the chat and you haven't had a rune, just comment rune, and I'll do your reading just before I head out now. But if not, Thank you guys so much for coming. Love, light, and blessings to all of you. And I really hope to see you soon. I can't check my homepage at the moment, but we have drawing spirit guides. Dopana, hello and welcome. Would you like a rune? You're welcome, Jan, you're welcome. So we have drawing the spirit guides, we have a crystal ball coming up in the next 3 days, and probably a pendulum in the evening at some point in the next week as well. So Dopana, would you like a rune? Just comment rune if you would like one, and I will do your rune before I head off. Yeah, okay, wonderful. Let's do it. Rune, a rune for Dopana. Well, it's definitely not that one. Okay. Yeah, I feel it's this one. It's one of those two. Yeah, let's go with this one. So this is initiation. This is the initiation rune, if you can see it there. So the phoenix is your totem animal right now, and with the help of the unknown forces of the universe, you will rise from the ashes. So if you do want to focus on a totem animal, if you do want to focus on, a symbol at the moment, the phoenix will be perfect for you. Doesn't mean, so if you feel really connected to another spirit animal, doesn't mean you don't have them anymore. It just means for this current chapter, the phoenix is very strong with you at the moment. And whatever the higher forces you wish to work with, so whether that's your higher self, God, the universe, they're all going to help you to rise from the ashes. So this is just an especially powerful rune if you've been through a difficult time. But even if you haven't, it's still about that coming back stronger. It's still about reinventing yourself. It's still about just being even stronger, being even more powerful. A surprise and unexpected gains. So we have a surprise coming, something unexpected that's going to give you a lot of gain, a lot of positivity. So it's not, it doesn't specify if it's a spiritual gift, a physical gift, a gift in relationships, connections, something like that. But it's unexpected, but it's going to be very, very positive regardless. You're going to gain in some way. So it's a surprise, but it's a nice surprise. And you will begin to see from a higher perspective as well. So you're beginning to see from a higher perspective. There might be, when we move to, so anytime we raise in vibration, anytime we move to a higher perspective, there'll be people in our current perspective or lower who might try to drag us down. So just bear in mind that there may be conflicts, there may be people arguing around you. You have to stay in your higher power, in your higher energy, and you may need to be a mediator for other people as well. If there's conflicts going on in family or in friend groups, you will have to be the bigger person. You will have to be the person that sits people down and says, let's talk, let's make up, let's be, you're kind of the balanced and stronger one in this current chapter, in this current period, and you will be seen from a higher perspective. So that was Darpana. Z-Rem. Hello and welcome. Okay, so if anybody else is in, if you would like a rune, just comment rune and I will do you a rune, just one rune. So you're very welcome to comment. You're very welcome. And if not, I will jump out and I will see you guys all very soon. So again, I'll just go back through. So we have a crystal ball in the next 3 days. We have a pendulum reading within the next week. And we have on the 14th in the evening, the spirit guides drawing. So that's a brand new stream. I've never done it before. So it is going to be a little bit of a test and it's going to be very first come, first serve with the spirit guide drawing. But for any members, if you don't get a reading on that day because of the stream, if it's busy, I will do one specifically for members as well, so you do not miss out. But amazing! So it's been so amazing. Thank you all so much for joining. It's been really nice to see some new people as well. Love, light, and blessings for each of you. I may jump on and do this one again soon as well because it's been really nice. Love, light, and blessings to each of you. I really hope to see you soon. Hope you join me for the next crystal ball and the next pendulum reading. Goodbye.